All right. Hey, it's the Action Artist. My real name is Stuart, if you must know. But yeah, I'm here to drain the comic books. Let's see. I have some updates on my comic book. Here, take a good look at this page. It's really coming together. Look at that. I've started adding the moon right there. It's just the moon is just penciled in right now, but and clouds and trees and the building that he's on with some bricks. Just kind of you know, I'll probably photocopy this and actually re-ink it, but this is basically the style right now that I'm going for. It's pretty cool. Some shiny reflective areas where you could do gradations. I kind of beat the page up a little where his stiletto is because this is like something I would need critiques from a pro, to help me. But I did some action lines. I'm trying to make the blade on his helmet pop out, and I'm just getting a feel for how the lettering and everything is going to go. But this is pretty much getting close to final draft. It's going to be. If I lessen up the black or lighten it up a little bit, and like I might, is up, what I'm saying is either or. I'm coming up to the style here. You can see his shoulder. That's his shoulder guard. But what I really wanted to talk about is how the storyline is really coming together. I was like, I got to think this out. And let me kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But it finally clicked. So there's a scene where he has a confrontation with a cop, with a corrupt police officer. And I finally realized that the whole point of the first story arc is he's trying to find his son, who the bad guys have in foster care. And his daughter's already been murdered. So he's I was thinking, well, I had this whole scene where he goes into a convenience store, he runs into a cop, and I was trying to, and I was like, then I had all these other branching off where I was like, well, maybe he defeats the cop right there in the store just to make a point. This was the first storyline. He just to make a point that he's starting a war with all these corrupt government officials. He sends one of their boys to the what do you call it there? The ICU, the intensive care unit, and whether the officer made it through or not, I never really cared if that because it wasn't really that important to the storyline. Oh, hang on a second. I'm gonna run out and get a drink out of my car too in a second here. But then I had another tributary where I wanted him to catch a cop and a corrupt cop, mind you, and I wanted him to torture this corrupt cop to find out where his son is. Then I had another tributary of my storyline where the cop turns out not to be human, and then I finally melded them all together, and it's not only going to save me time, it's going to get right to the point. It's going to pick up perfectly the storyline. Now I'm going to show you how it goes down, but I have to preface it a little first with my whole basis for the comic universe that I'm creating here, which I'm building as carefully as I can, but also as fast as I can. And I'm going to get around to I said all that to kind of get to this point, which is the whole first scene is going to take place in an abandoned warehouse. A good portion of the first comic, maybe even the entire first comic. In the beginning, and right here, he's testing his suit. Let me get that together for you. I got all that over there too. I stacked all the artwork here. Here it is. So So here he is. He's on top. My main character is called Nutjob. He's on top of this building in this like crazy armor that he built, and this is an abandoned building that he's on. So he's testing this armor that he made to fight against the corrupt, against the corrupt government, of which he suspects might not be human. Some of them. He's starting to think that the human race is being infiltrated by monsters, basically by demonic people, and we're really getting into where my storyline's going here now. So right here you see him, and I'm going to fix this so it looks more like this. This is going to look more like this page is going to look more like that. So here you see him up on top of the building, and he's pondering basically, and he's talking about how basically his armor is done and everything, and you know, he's testing it out and it's working fine. Then he kind of does, you know, he puts the helmet on, he swan dives off of this abandoned building. He puts his helmet on. It's like a bird's eye view down into a parking lot here. He swan dives off the edge, does a flip twist, lands facing the building down here on the concrete, right? So the armor works fine, the field of view is fine, the cameras all work and everything. So it looks like a normal field of view, and you know, and so then he goes back into the building, and this is where the storyline starts to change. He's thinking about how it's time to go find his son and get his son out of the hands of the criminals, and basically, you know, so as he's walking to where he resides, he's squatting to build where he's building all this armor. He's squatting in like an old mill house that nobody barely ever goes around. You know what I mean? It's like nobody uses it, and he hears a car pulling, and he looks out through like one of the broken windows, or there's like no windows basically, and he sees a cop car, and he's like, oh, this might be my opportunity. And then you see the cop in the car, and he's just kind of like, you know, somehow I'm indicating like what's going on. Like I think he's maybe on the phone with his significant other or with somebody, and he's like, yeah, or you know, or a partner or something. He's just kind of like, no, not a partner. It can't be a partner. It has to be alone, kind of. And so he's just kind of like maybe talking on his phone. He's like, yeah, I'll be home, honey, you know, or something like that. Or he's talking to the people at the station, something. And they're basically, to get the point across, that he got a call that somebody saw somebody up on the roof. A passerby saw some dark figure up on the roof of this abandoned building. So the cop pulls in. He's checking the place out. My character runs up behind him and just bam hits him with his armored gauntlet fist with like, it has like metal chisels on it. Just basically rips open the back. I already have that scene drawn out. So he basically, the cop's like, you know, look out of the car, kind of looking around. Or no. Basically, I'm sorry. I changed it slightly. The cop pulls in because he's a crooked cop, and he's there to meet one of the main bad guys of the story. That's where I think I was gonna have it show. And so the cop gets there early, and he gets out of the car, and my character takes him down. But what my character doesn't know is that, you know, he thinks these people might be demonically possessed, you know what I mean, because he's analyzing video of them, and he realizes that somehow there's like, you know, shapeshifters, because when he's already been studying these people. I'll get more into it, but you know, basically, like, he notices that cameras disrupt the field of their holograms that they use to, you know what I mean, these or somehow disrupts the field that these demonic you know, entities are using to hide themselves. And so he already kind of knows basically there's basically non-human entities or maybe using human clones or something to like run everything. And so he basically but what he doesn't realize is they can shapeshift these things into monsters. So the cop should be basically dead, and he doesn't die. And the cop turns into basically a werewolfish, which is in my universe is basically just a demon, like a minor demon. And here, let me get that for you because I just started sketching it out, and it looks really cool. Oh, here it is. So the cop turns into a werewolf. And, I got it basically roughly, and they start scrapping. And my character's surprised and gets pinned by it. And so here's like the werewolf's face coming in, like, rah, And then here's my character. I was more concentrating on the wolf, but, you can see his leg and his knee guard and his chest, Basically, I'll probably draw these figures separately and then combine them together when I trace them. Then you see a bolt of light with maybe a face sort of, and like a flash of light hitting the werewolf from the side, and you hear it go Arr! Like that. Then you just see this angel punching this werewolf, which flies through the air and hits this concrete like it's right near it. It's like a doorway, and that the concrete's like shattering basically. And so what happens is this angel like the main character sees a glimpse of it, but the angel doesn't fully reveal itself to him yet. But it's basically an angel that's his guardian, or one of his guardians maybe. And so basically the angel smites the demon and kills it, so just the cop's body is there. The main character's just like, oh, cool, you know what I mean? Thank you, Lord. And he grabs the cop who's unconscious now. The angel just kills the demon, doesn't kill the cop. And basically the main character takes the cop into a secret room somewhere and ties him up in a chair, basically. And then the bad guys show up. Cop's not around, cruiser's empty, whatever. Or no, he gets the main character, Nutjob, moves the cruiser, hides everything. Then the bad guy shows up, looks around, nobody's there. And they're like, oh, he's never. And they're like, well, maybe he did this or that. His like underling, his thugs, the main characters like underlings are like, oh, maybe he's out, maybe he's out, partying or something, and the main bad guy's like, no, he's never missed the meeting before. And he's like, something's wrong. So he's like, make a double, meaning make a clone of the cop and make up some kind of story until we can find out what's going on and have, you know what I mean? So like basically the main character's watching the news the next day, and he finds out that that basically it's in the news that like this cop, maybe got killed or killed some, or got in what do you call it, an altercation with somebody at some abandoned building and killed them or something, and whatever, some kind of thing goes, basically what I'm trying to say is the main character sees like there's a total lie in the news, and there's a double of the cop on the news. So he's like, oh my, so it like clues the main character into like, holy cow, this is like worse than they thought it is. They like clone the cop. I have the real one tied up in the basement, and like there's a clone of the cop that I have in the basement on the news. And that's how it starts out. And I thought people might like that. And so, yeah, there's that. And, what's going on in the chat? Anybody? So I'm trying to drain the comic book swamp here. I got to close out some windows. So I thought I would just make a video on that and see, you know, if people want to comment down below. What they think about it. I'm gonna go grab a drink out of my car really quick. If you know, maybe I'll wait for some viewers to join in. I'll do the whole thing over again. Either way. So if people want to, you know, something new in comic books, that's what I'm doing. All right, just drinking some soda, having a good time. I got a lot to do tomorrow. I can't stay on long, actually. I have a lot to do. Man, what's up with all these windows I have open? I can get rid of that. Get rid of that. Hey, I got a thumbs up. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Here, I'll give me a thumbs up too. I don't care. Draining the comic book swamp. Yeah, so that's my new storyline. I think it will go. And then he has the cop tied up in the basement of this place, but he's so well hidden that nobody can find him. Or some other room that he made or something. Like he has like a separate, I don't know, like he like. I think I got a message from somebody that I think it's my friend telling me something that he already told me because he just had a few drinks today and he doesn't remember telling me or something. I don't know. That was weird. Like he just told me the same thing twice. Yeah. So this is something new that this is something new that I'm trying to do here. A whole new caliber of comics. Right now, I'm calling myself Signal Comics. Here's a sketch I'm doing. This should be done. I'm going to be, or very soon, I'm going to send this to Cross Comics. That's his character, Insecto. He's going to have a butterfly on his finger. See his fingers up right there. See, I really, I had to put some white out on his face there. But, you know, this, basically, I'm sketching this up. I really just got to add a little bit more detail. Then I'm going to scan it and send it to him. I think I'm going to work on this tonight. I'm going to work on this tonight. What I'm going to ink, I'm going to ink page 2 tonight. I'm going to start inking this, and I'm going to finish this tonight. And I have to do some studying tonight. But what do you think of this werewolf scene? Where basically this cop right here, I'll show you. This cop right here, basically this whole fight ensues in the abandoned warehouse, but he's going to be in his armor now. He's not going to be dressed like that. He's going to be in this crazy armor. It's got guns on it and shit. But yeah, he gets in a fight, or this cop is like checking out the warehouse where it's like an abandoned warehouse where the character's staying, and my character's just kind of like, oh, cool, a cop. because he needs to find out where his son is. Because in the what's up, Bronson? What are you doing? Hang on, my dog's doing something. Grab something before that you left there. Okay. Yeah. So the cop, but basically he gets into a scrap with this cop because he tries to capture the cop, and or he basically attacks this cop to try to capture him to get information, because basically what you find out is that the criminals, kind of like in the criminals in my storyline, kind of like in the movie with Leonardo, The Departed, kind of like in the movie The Departed, the criminals put the bad guys through cop school, and so this cop is like one of the bad cops in The Departed, and basically and my character basically tries to capture him and doesn't realize that he's like a fully basically the cop is like a hologram for like a demon, or for a demon soul that's like piloting the cop's body basically, and the form of the demon is basically like a werewolf. It's like a minor demon. So like I said, my character is trying to pump information on or wants to pump the cop for information on where his son is. So he and the cop basically transforms into this giant werewolf thing and attacks him. I didn't show that part yet, but I'm trying to draw this one page just for for people to see. So then, right when the werewolf's about to kill my main character, because my main character isn't invincible. A lot of times he's protected by an angel, and so basically, you see a bolt of light strike this. It's basically the angel's fist. You know what I mean? And you see strike this werewolf from the side, and just you see this angel just knock the werewolf into a concrete wall, basically. And I'll do more detail later. I'm gonna work on this page too, probably this weekend. And it's gonna be a really cool page of my character and an angel fighting a werewolf, basically. And my character is a Christian, and he basically starts out just fighting corruption and what he thinks are, he's not quite sure what's going on. Basically, the story gets more into it. Like it starts out where he just kind of suspects what's going on, but this page reveals it all. He realizes that he's dealing with monsters, because basically. And I'm going to get across my concept how basically what happened is humanity was fooled, and we've been food for demons for a long time now, and mankind has managed to fend them off here and there for periods of time, but they always come back in. You know what I mean? And now it's like the end times basically, and I'm going to get into the 144,000, and it's going to be all these. People with superpowers. It's going to be a lot to write, but I can introduce it at my own pace. And it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be a very cool Christian kind of based comic book universe with angels and demons, giants are in it, and basically the bad guy is like a gay. Well, I'm not going to get in. I don't want to reveal too much about the bad guy, because the bad guy is very twisted. I think he's going to be, or one of the main bad guys, basically the first main bad guy that you're introduced to, who's I'll say this, he's a very wealthy Satanist. He's a very wealthy Luciferian Satanist. He's surrounded by demon-possessed people. They have holograms, though, that make them look human. You know what I mean? Like, they can basically go back and forth from their true form to, like, human form. And it's going to be a really cool comic book. And there's gang members working for the Satanists, and there's police working for him. Like, basically, my main character's not safe anywhere until he meets up with some other real people. Basically, what he finds out, you know, what he eventually starts finding out is there's real, you know, I mean, he knows there's real people anywhere, but he can't figure out why they just haven't devoured humanity completely. And the angel eventually explains to him that that they're protected, that these real, whether you know, whether they're going to hell or not, these people are protected for whatever reason until they complete or don't complete what their purpose was here to do. And so there are real people walking around, and then there's real people that are like awake and in the know, and he meets up with some of them there, and he like forms a group of rogue warriors basically, and I get into that later, but. So I'm thinking maybe he my character he meets up with a giant in the first issue. That's who his ally is, out in the woods. Basically, through a series of events of my character trying to get his son, he has run-ins with the police. He eventually gets in a huge battle with the whole fucking with all the basically the paid mercenaries that you know, SWAT, like basically military that keep that town on lockdown. He gets in a huge battle with them, and he just like takes out the whole force, but he gets shot. He gets shot in the process. Like basically his armor gets pierced and he gets shot. And he flies off into the wood. He flies off into the woods because he's using flying. He has a flying attachment for his armor that helps him, that where he can like fly around, kind of like a human hanging from a drone. It's got 4 like rotor blades on it, and it attaches to the power pack on his back. And he's like wounded, and he's like crashing, and he like crash lands wounded out in the woods. And out in like an area that's off limits because humanity's being like kind of slowly corralled in these like cities, and there's a giant out walking around out there, and runs into him, and it's a good giant, and that helps him out. Basically helps him get his son back, and that's what the entire first story arc is about. How and it could, you know, that, so that's all pretty much cemented out because I'm really excited about it. I can tell that I'm not going to change. I can tell that I'm not. It also is solidified now, and it's cool because when the cop gets out of the car, you're going to see my character hiding in his outfit, ready to ambush the cop, and he like looks, and I'm going to show video of the cop, and then I'm going to show a page where he's analyzing the video, and you see like demonic features in the cop's face and shit like that, and like in the shadows and all this stuff, and he's all like, he knows that it's, you know, he knows that this cop is bad. Basically, he just doesn't know the full extent of it. See what's going on. Hey, what's up, cave creature? I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it, dude. Yeah, the storyline's really coming together. Werewolves. I'm starting to really do the like you can see the detail on the first page here. You can see trees. I can't tell what, yeah. Trying to make sure you guys can see. You can see trees, bushes, grass down below. He's up on top of a roof, basically a roof, not a roof, a roof. You know, clouds in the sky. This would be all done mostly by the colorist. You know, I'm leaving the sky, the detail in the sky very loose and light because that'll be like a stormy night sky with like the full moon kind of, you know, peeking between the clouds there and all that and everything, just very mysterious nighttime. Maybe crickets chirping, I don't know. And he's up on the roof. He's getting ready to test it. He's getting ready to jump off the roof of this 4-story building like this. Yeah, like basically, and that's how the whole first issue opens up, basically. And then from there, it's just like him pumping this cop, this you know, this the angel basically smites the demon and kills the demon, the werewolf, and like basically, you know, basically the cop is a satanic criminal. That's, you know, this guy, you know, that's worked his way into the police for most of the police force now is basically, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like in the movie The Departed, as I was saying, and you know, and basically, yeah, so basically my character after now the guy can't shapeshift anymore, basically. Basically God's, you know, the angel smites the demon in him, and God, it's basically this cop's time is up. And so it gets kind of like the movie Reservoir Dogs, you know what I mean? Like he basically tortures this cop until he finds out who the social services person is that is in charge of his son's case in foster care, is what basically happens. And because the monsters have his son in foster care, and I get into that too. You'll see that. And so basically he basically you know, after he gets the information he needs, he kills the cop, and the cop goes to hell, basically. Or the cop, well, I don't believe in hell so much. The cop dies, basically, and is going to hell. Or whatever the version of hell is that, you know, that you believe in, whatever. I don't know. But anyway, so, but then after he kills the cop, basically, he, you know, I don't want to get my whole storyline out there, but I'm just gonna say he baits them into a battle, and he has a huge battle, and he gets wounded. Then he goes and heals. Basically, I'm just gonna give you a short synopsis. Then he comes back and he basically does this campaign where he gets a whole bunch of dirt on all the city officials and the governor and everybody. Like he basically investigates them and gets all kinds of compromising information on them. Then he releases that all out on the internet, kind of like, you know, QAnon, or like through some kind of anonymous thing or whatever. And then he gains like a following. It gets crazy and basically like it ends with basically like the whole National Guard is called in after him and everything like that. And it gets like Grand Theft Auto on 5 stars, basically. And he basically, there's like a weird scene, there's kind of a crazy scene at the end where the giant helps him break into the governor's mansion while they're all, you know, looking for him over in some other area, because the giant shows him basically certain magical ways of like cutting corners in the in reality to come like basically gates. The giant shows them gates out in the woods and stuff like that. It gets crazy, and they go to the governor's mansion, and basically he basically gets a pardon and gets his kid back. And I'm not going to say exactly how it ends, but that's pretty much the end of the entire first story arc. It's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. I got two people. I got, I guess, one person watching. What's going on, Cave Creature? Anything interesting? Yeah, I think comic books need to be saved, and I'm trying to create an alternate, uh, another. I guess I'm doing my own thing now on YouTube, and I'm just trying to make a maybe a more accessible path for indie comic artists that aren't already well known, because I'm not seeing. I mean, I'm trying to find, or for people like me that, I seem to everybody basically people like me, for whatever reason, you're told you're talented, but for whatever reason, you're not being recognized. Uh, I guess, maybe you're not a liberal, maybe you're not famous already. Nobody wants to take a chance on you. If I see that you're a hardworking, reliable person, and you're talented, you know what I mean. And I have some position for you to fill, or I can help you get your comic book published. I will do that. You know what I mean? Just to help people and help get better comic books out there. I don't necessarily have to be the one making the money. I don't. I would like to make money, but I would also like to put better comic books out. You know what I mean, for people to read, man. Because comic book art is, it's kind of a American pastime, and it'd be a shame to see. I mean, DC and Marvel now are just having so many problems because they can't, because everybody says it's because they don't know what they're doing, and that they're too stupid, and I'm starting to suspect that it's on purpose, that Marvel and DC are doing this shit on purpose. I'm done suspecting. I'm done just going, oh, the people at the top making billions of dollars ruin everything are stupid. If they're stupid, then why are they making so much money? Why do they have such a huge fan base? You know what I mean? Why are, you know what I mean? I don't understand. I would say they're cunning like a fox. They're destroying the entire comic book industry. If I would have to, you got to give credit where credit is due. They're fucking geniuses. These SJWs are geniuses. They've managed to destroy the whole comic book industry, and send all the so-called conservative artists running. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. Fucking geniuses. These SJWs. I'm done calling them stupid. I don't understand what's wrong with conservatives, that they don't know. You guys don't know how to go around an enemy and how to rally people behind you, and you know what I mean, and and get numbers together like the SJWs, and just create your own whole breakaway society. Basically, I mean, that's basically what kind of needs to be done. Like the whole, basically, you just got the whole comic industry needs to break away from these companies that are just destroying everything. And I'm trying to help facilitate that by creating an alternative to all these companies that are just, they would rather they're going to be they want to basically weaponize and use comics to destroy the culture and destroy the youth's minds in America or something. I don't know what they want, what they're doing, but they're definitely doing a good job of it. Uh, so I'm just talking and talking. Does there anybody have any questions, or I'm gonna see what's going on in comic book world here. So I have court tomorrow. I have court in the morning, and it's not because I did something wrong. It's because I'm actually going for shared custody of my twin sons. Shared custody and visitation. And I'll let you know how that turns out. If anybody's interested, it's gonna be. I'm gonna be very, very busy. I'm not gonna be drawing too much on camera right yet, but I will get around to that. I think I will do some of these pages live, or work on some of these pages live this weekend. I'm going to start inking this page right here, basically. I don't know, I kind of need some new supplies. I need whiteout pens. I found my needed eraser, so I don't need that. But I need whiteout pens. I need some more scrap paper. I need a few things. I got a donation on Patreon. Finally, somebody, or not Patreon, PayPal. Finally, somebody donated to me. It was Armchair Warrior. Thank you, Armchair Warrior, for the $10 you sent me on PayPal. It's my first donation. I've been doing this for 3 years now, and somebody finally donated $10 to me. So that means if I want, I can go and buy some new pens. I think I'm going to get felt tip pens. I like these, but for the final rendering of these pages that I'm working on right here, because I'm going to basically redo. I know this probably looks cool, but I'm going to redo it because I'm still kind of inventing this whole like formula that I'm putting together for this comic book, and and I just kind of it took me a little bit of whiteout to arrive at this. You know what I mean? But now that once I get in the flow, I'll be fine once I get the flow going. But right now, I'm just kind of, inventing this stuff. I'm inventing new characters, a whole new universe, but it's going to be black and white with a color cover, I think. And, but yeah, basically, once I get these first 5 pages or so done, like penciled out really well, I'm just going to set up my tracing table, and I'm going to trace the pencils onto some good drawing paper, or with ink. I'm basically going to ink them, and I'll do that live. I'll just ink these pages live. So there's that. Unless anybody has any questions, that's basically the new updates on my storyline and how the first issue is going to start out. If you're just joining in, you can rewind it. I show some breakdowns of my character fighting a werewolf, and where an angel has to intervene to save the main character. My whole point is, as a Christian, is to show that my character has to rely on God. You can't have a Christian character you can't have that's like, so that does everything himself. It doesn't fall into like the realm of Christianity. Christians have to depend on God for things. You know what I mean? So I'm getting into basically how God has how basically there's an appointed guardian angel that protects my character here and there, and kind of gives my character information and gives my character missions and people that need to be taken down. My character basically kills most of the underlings, but all the like really heavy stuff, like the really big demons, basically you know the real shapeshifters, the really evil, completely like soulless uh, bad guys that have like demon entities in them. Basically, my character usually has help from angels with that type of stuff. That's how it's going to work out. And I just thought I would announce that, and I'm going to get to doing some artwork, and I'll be on real soon. So thanks for watching.